Democrat from New Jersey, and we have GOP Chief Deputy Whip Peter Roskam of Illinois. Welcome, Jack. Gentlemen, Bill Pascrell, you voted in favor of the highway bill, which means you voted in favor of mandating the Keystone Pipeline. And I guess I want to know why, because this thing's going to go to House-Senate conference, and the pipeline could pass there, too, could it not?
It could. The president was never against Keystone. What he wanted to do is to listen very carefully to Nebraska's complaints about where the pipeline was going, and I think they were legitimate. I think the president had every right to question. I voted for this several months ago. As you remember, it came up. I thought that this transit bill, which only goes for several months up to September, is something that I would have preferred to have a 2 or 3 year plan, but I guess they'll work that out in conference. But I did vote for the bill today. I think that transit money is necessary for New Jersey and a lot of other states.
All right, Peter Roskam, let me go back to the first point, though. You could get this Keystone Pipeline. Now, the Trans-Canada people have rerouted this thing, so that's an important step in the right direction. If it goes to the House-Senate conference, as it will, could it pass? And could it pass the floor of the Senate? It only lost by a couple votes the last time. Peter Roskam, this is big news.
I think the dynamic is changing, and I think the momentum is behind Keystone because it's a big bipartisan win. As Bill mentioned a minute ago, Democrats and Republicans came together in overwhelming numbers today, so it's not perceived as a partisan issue. To your point earlier, the Senate seems to be moving on this. And look, here's what's driving this. Gas within a half a mile of my house in suburban Chicago is $4.25 a gallon. And what we've seen up until now is an administration that has largely been making an energy policy based on a narrow fringe of the base of the Democratic Party. And it's my hope that the president recognizes that that's a failure, reject it, embrace Keystone, and move on. It would be terribly disappointing to people who are crushed under this if the president vetoes it.
All right, well, no, this is all very promising. I'm hearing almost bipartisanship from you gentlemen. Thank you for that. We will see as it goes to conference. Bill Pascrell, on the other hand, President Obama has also threatened to veto the, well, I'm going to call it the Eric Cantor, the Republican small business tax cuts. 20% business tax cut. It's a sure job creator. In fact, it's been priced out to create over 100,000 new jobs a year. What's wrong with Cantor's small business tax cut?
Well, because the Congressional Budget Office says it's not going to create any jobs, really marginal. I don't believe it. I'm going to vote no tomorrow. I think the president is right on course in saying he will veto this particular legislation. Look, today, in the Ways and Means Committee, we wrote up the bill, which is going to cut Wheels on Meals. It's going to cut money for tax credits for children. It's $53 billion. And what Mr. Cantor's proposing tomorrow isn't even paid for. So in one day you're cutting, and the next day you're adding to the deficit. It makes no sense, Larry. You remember what you've been saying about the deficit? This makes no sense whatsoever.
Well, all right, Peter Roskam, is there a growth component in Cantor's bill? It's a 20% tax cut, small business. The White House says they're going to oppose it because it helps rich people. I mean, that was basically their veto message. I understand what Bill Pascrell is saying about the $46 billion deficit estimate. How much of an obstacle is that deficit estimate going to be insofar as the House vote?
Oh, I think this bill is going to move out of the House. We believe it's a growth agenda, and we're going to be able to move it forward in a very dynamic way. Look,
Peter, you know this bill's not
hang on, Bill. Let me just finish making my point, my friend. But I think ultimately what we're trying to do is give relief to small businesses. And I've got manufacturers, Bill's got manufacturers in his district that are begging for mercy right now. They want to have a sense of predictability. They want to know where things are going, and they are getting no tax relief from the administration. And what we're saying is, let's move forward and let's give small businesses the universally recognized job creator in this economy. Let's give them a break and move forward. I think it makes all the sense in the world, and it's my hope that we have another bipartisan moment. It's up to the Democrats in the House whether they choose to join us, but I think we're going to pass it with some very strong numbers tomorrow.
You know, I just don't understand, Bill. Look, the Buffett bill to tax rich people failed. Now you got a House bill to cut taxes on small business. That's a major contrast coming into the election year. If the House bill promises to cut cut to raise 100,000 new jobs a year. That's not going to cost revenues. That's going to make money for the Treasury.
Larry, this is what we saw between 2001 and 2008. You put legislation in, sounds wonderful, and you don't pay for it. Well, this has had to end. The other side said that it should end, Peter. You know that. And apparently they don't want to end it. They want to pay they want things to be happening, and we're not going to pay for it. And the bill comes later. We're going to kick the can down the street. This does not help the middle class. It does not help the working poor. And it helps those people who make more than $1 million who have small businesses who are going to gain most of this money, 84% of it. I know the numbers. This is not going to be job growth. I can assure you, Larry.
All right, maybe we'll continue this. The vote is tomorrow. Maybe you'll both come back tomorrow evening. We'll see about this. I understand the debate rages on. Congressman Bill Pascrell, thank you very much. Peter Roskam, thank you very much. Prospects much better for the Keystone Pipeline. I think that's fascinating. Now, the veto threat is just one of several ways Obama administration's been bad for